So
That's funny.
here's the rule. Try everything.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be boring.
Right.
Mhm.
Find a way to be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be pretty.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be clever. You can leverage other people's cleverness. You just have to start.
Yeah.
Because once you get people looking, then you have an opportunity to be able to have a conversation. Say, hey, you want to go have a little separate conversation over here, and I can tell you about something that I've got that's going on, and you can create that. Welcome to the Excellence Project. My name is Eric Worre, and today I have top network marketing earners and social media experts, John and Nadya Melton. They're going to talk about their journey, their lessons learned along the way, and going to give you some tips on how you can do better in social media. So with no further ado, let's jump into my conversation with John and Nadya Melton. John and Nadya Melton, how are you?
We're living the dream. We're excited. We can hardly hide it.
It's great that you're here. Thanks for coming to Vegas. I appreciate
Absolutely.
you guys.
Yeah, we're excited.
You guys have been in network marketing for how long?
22 years for me coming up next month.
Yes. 22 years.
A little longer for you.
Right.
We met in network marketing. She'd already done like 2 or 3 companies
Yes.
beforehand. Yeah.
Yes.
This can become a little bit of a dating game,
Yes.
network marketing,
You're
because
single looking
Yeah.
to mingle.
you're hanging out with like-minded people, positive energy. You
Mhm.
go to these conferences, somebody's single, see somebody else single, go,
Yeah.
that could be interesting.
Yeah.
And you have this excuse to be able to hang out. You could pretend that you're networking and you're strategizing different ideas when that's not the intention at all.
Oh, I saw her do a testimonial and I was very intrigued,
Really?
to say the least.
What was the testimonial?
Well, plus this is funny. I think she doesn't always think it's funny, but you know the movie American Pie?
Uh-huh.
Oh my God.
And there was the girl Nadia. I'd never heard of a Nadia, the Russian. And then of course they call up this Nadia to the front of the room. And I'm like, a Nadia? Well, I got to see this. And then she comes up to the front of the room. And I was like, okay, that is interesting. I need to meet her.
So what
Oh gosh, John.
what was the testimonial? Do you remember the testimonial?
Generally? I just remember the accent was thick.
Yes, I was succeeding
Yeah,
for
she
sure.
was
They put
crushing
me in
it.
front of the room.
Short skirt.
And when I met John, right, I was going through a divorce
Mhm.
and I was uninterested in American men specifically at that time because I didn't think they could keep up with my aggressive personality, right? And then I remember hearing John, like you stood up and you said something and my inner voice said, I'm going to marry him. And I remember being shocked to my very core. I'm like, no, this is not. I'm here to hustle, succeed. But it was quite a journey, I have to say, this network marketing. Sometimes you're networking through people to market yourself. So if you're single looking to mingle,
Yeah.
this for sure is a profession to
And I did
inside of.
have my girlfriend there at the time.
Oh
So,
my God.
but that didn't last too long, so it all worked out.
Yeah.
It's not on the same page, John.
And they used to
Yes.
try to get her to convince me to speak in front of the room because I wouldn't even do a testimonial. They couldn't get me to do an introduction of like the speaker.
Can't even imagine that.
Dude, I literally,
Yes.
I warned them. I said, if you try to bring me in front of the room, I'll walk out. Like that's how and they would get her. She lived in Indiana. I was in Maryland. They would get her to call me and just see how I was doing. And then
To mentor him a little bit.
and then she'd be like, so when are you going to start presenting? I'm like, nah, I knew that's why you were calling. I'm not interested. So yeah, it took a while to get me up there.
What's your nationality?
Russian.
Russian. So your accent is not traditionally Russian.
No.
It's like kind of
European,
It's,
right? New York.
Kardashian Russian. Like if you mix the
Oh,
two or
I
something.
like that.
That's a first.
That is a first.
You know what I mean? It's kind of like a posh Russian.
Oh, well, that I agree. Well, I moved here when I was 16,
Okay.
right? And
Where did you move to?
I came through an exchange program
Okay.
where
To
you
where?
don't
To where, though?
choose where you go. So they shipped me to Indiana. And I remember they called me. I was thinking
can't
I
see
would
you in
love.
Indiana.
Exactly. I was thinking I would love to go to California, Florida, New York. And when they say Indiana, I was like, wow, what is that? Where is that? And I was in the middle of the cornfield. There was cows next to my window. And as you know, it's shocking. Coming from Europe, we would dress up to go to the grocery store. And I remember my host family took me to Walmart. I will never forget that experience. To this day, I do not go to Walmart, especially. It was an experience.
Because you were dressed up. It's the same exact thing I assume people know my wife is Ukrainian.
Yes.
And when she first came to the United States, she's going back and forth. We had a long distance relationship for like 3 years, which was challenging.
Yeah.
Same thing, like heels and the whole deal to the grocery store.
Yes.
I remember I was going to go golf one day in Minnesota, similar to Indiana. And the outfit she put together for that, I said, you're going to give these golfers a heart attack. They are not prepared for this. It needs to be a little bit more Minnesota in order to be able to like not freak everybody out.
Yeah.
And she's like, really? Yeah, babe. I love it, but just saying.
Yes. Yes. It's never easy to come down to earth, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
Yes, because we have standards of operation and it's important to, you can't sell the dream looking like a nightmare.
Right.
And it starts with
Americans
everywhere
can be
you
a
go.
little, they can be a little sloppy.
A little
That's what
bit.
we've discovered.
Yeah.
Just in general.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
We can. We've become a society of sweatpants, yoga pants,
Mm.
hoodies,
Mhm.
t-shirts.
Mm.
We have.
Yeah.
It's the deal. So not that any of that stuff matters. I just
Yes.
wanted to kind of get a framework for how long, 22 years-ish, a little bit
Mhm.
longer for
Yeah.
you. You met in the business, got it going. Just your getting started story.
Yeah.
Each of you tell me your getting started story. I want to get to ultimately how you've pivoted and maximized your social media
Mhm.
strategies and how you've replicated those within your team, because I think that's one of you guys' superpowers.
Mhm.
And I think it's relevant for what's
Yeah.
going on in the world today. Most people need to think of themselves as media companies, and they need to be able to leveraging the tools that are available to them today. And most people under leverage them. I find it fascinating, John, that you were not willing to be kind of publicly out there because this profession has obviously gotten you out of your shell,
Yeah. A little bit.
and you've become more comfortable in that. Are you still an introvert in general?
I don't even think.
Or
I'm-
were you then?
I don't think I'm an introvert. I think I was just such a shark, so aggressive that I was like, I'm not going to go up there and embarrass myself. Because I'm definitely an extrovert. But
Yes.
speaking in
Okay.
front of a group of people, and I never said this
Yeah.
when I would say no. Years later, I realized I was just super insecure. But at the time, it was like, no, I'm not going up there. And there wasn't even a reason. I was just like, I knew the reason, but I wouldn't say it to other people. I'm like, I don't want to go up there. You told me I could bring people to the meeting, and that's what I'm doing. I'm a body dragger.
the hard charger in you, I would assume, would say, well, what changed for me is somebody said the person with the marker, person up front makes the money. And I went,
That was it.
Well, I guess I got to be one of those people because I did the math. I just started counting the people who's up there doing the presentation. Oh, how much did they make? Oh, that's a lot. 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 Everybody sitting in the room, less. Okay. I could be an inviter to somebody making the money and they'll help me make some money.
Yep.
Mhm.
Or I can be up in front of the room, face my fear, do all of that stuff and make bigger money.
Yep.
I've always been the student of there's what sounds good in network marketing, and then there's what actually works.
Right.
Yeah.
People talk about these different things, and there's rhymey things in our business, and all these little phrases and cliches. But I've made it a real focus to say what really works.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Instead of what just sounds good. Like I had people, tell me I'll never do like a 3-way phone call, or I'll never do a 2-on-1 lunch, or I'll never
do videos.
I'll never meet somebody face to face, or
Yeah.
I'll never
Yeah.
I'll never use social media. That's
Mhm.
nonsense. And I'm always like, okay, I hear your point.
Mhm.
Let's take a look at what's working.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Let's look around the world. Let's look inside the team. Let's take a look at what's really working.
Mhm.
Right.
And then we can call that nonsense or whatever.
Yeah.
So what Jim Rohn used to say is be a product of your own conclusions. Take a look at what's actually going on, make that decision, and move forward, and be willing to adapt and
Yep.
willing to adjust.
Right.
There's a lot of pivots.
I'll say this,
Yeah.
when I launch a new person, I typically have them do what they're comfortable doing
Mm-hmm.
at first,
Mm-hmm.
because I know they're just not ready to take that leap. And that was me. I just wasn't ready to start speaking in front of the room.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what happened? I had a guy on my team that started doing presentations, and he was brutal. And I'm sitting there like, dude, this is awful. Like I need to get up there. Like, not only is it embarrassing that I have someone in my downline actually doing presentations, but he's terrible. Like, I could do better than that. And that was, but it was, you know, the people in front of the room make the most money.
Yeah.
You know, more edification.
Mm-hmm.
Plus you're becoming independent of your upline. Right. But in
Sure.
the beginning, when someone's new, I try to get them to do the stuff they're comfortable doing,
Sure.
and then branch out, because eventually I did start. And actually you were mentioning something that brought to mind when we were doing PBRs, private business receptions, home meeting presentations.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, you know, I remember our upline would drive like 2 hours from Philadelphia to Baltimore to do our meeting. And I'm like, dude, I would never drive that far to go do a presentation. That's crazy.
Right.
And then like one of the first meetings I did, I drove like 45 minutes north. And I remember thinking like, I'm not going to do this very often. And then of course, a year later, that was a close meeting. A
Yeah.
45, like less than an hour. Like there was no meetings happening that were worth me going to that were less than an hour. It was always like 2 hours, 3 hours. And then of course, rush hour traffic. Dude, we're leaving the house sometimes 3 o'clock to do a 6:30 meeting, because we were living in south of Baltimore. So we're going up 83 into like, you know, the boondocks of Pennsylvania. And then the next night we're in West Virginia, no cell phone reception. The next night we're going down 495 into DC traffic to get into Northern Virginia. So, you know, like you said, you just eventually get that WIT mentality, whatever it takes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah.
But in the beginning,
Within reason.
yes, within reason.
I found out that there are some boundaries to that.
yeah.
I early in my career, I had the whatever it takes, and I took it to an extreme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like whatever.
Yeah. Then you burn
it
yourself
takes.
out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not even burn yourself out. I did some things that I shouldn't have done.
Oh, you mean like ethically?
Yeah.
Ah, got it. Yes.
I did some things in my ambition.
Yeah.
Whatever it takes, whatever it takes,
Yeah.
whatever it takes.
Say whatever you got to
that-
say, do whatever you got to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's the little, period of my life was just like,
Yeah.
wish I could take that back,
Yeah.
but, being super hyper aggressive, whatever. I learned those were my 20s, when I was like Wall Street,
Boiler room.
let's
Yeah.
go crush.
Yeah.
There's winners and losers, all that stuff. So let's do this. What I'd like you to do is tell me your network marketing story up until social media came into the equation. John, you start, and then I'll have Nadia. Just the whole,
Well, both of us were out
like
doing
a summary of it.
both of us were doing PBRs every night for about 5 years straight.
No, I being introduced.
Yeah.
And then,
The very beginning.
yeah,
Yeah.
your network marketing journey, and take me all the way up.
Got it.
Yeah. How did it launch? How long
Yeah.
till you made money? All that stuff.
I probably spent more money than I made the first couple years. And of course, everybody told me it was a pyramid scam and, all the negative Nancy's. In fact, I had some friends that literally went out of their way to warn all my other buddies. And I still remember that. And it was fuel for the fire. It was just like, I need to prove them wrong. And it is funny because you're like, years from now, I'm going to show you. And like, I'm not even in contact with any of those guys. Right. But if I did come across them, I'd be like, you really inspired me in those early years to keep going. But with that being said, the first company we were in was a company called Trek Alliance, which was a spinoff of Equinox. And for people that don't know, Equinox was a really big MLM for a while. The top earners in that company started Trek. And Trek, we came in about 3 years into it. And then their 5 year, when they hit their 5th year around that time, they got shut down because the owner of Equinox helped them get shut down. It was like a whole thing. And I remember thinking like, damn, everybody was right. My friends were right. It was a pyramid scam like the whole time, because there was a big emphasis. And I know you know this because you've been around much longer than us. It was all about recruiting and inventory.
Yeah.
Right. Like we had these bibs, business in a box. And if you wanted to be a supervisor, you bought 2 bibs.
Yeah.
So we were helping people.
How much
get
was
loans.
the package?
2,000. So you were kind of talking about the shiftiness back then. Like we had this like boiler room mentality, like whatever it takes.
One of the knocks on network marketing is what used to be kind of what they would call front end loading, where people would purchase a bigger amount of inventory in the hopes that they would sell it to their customers,
Which kind of made sense.
Yeah,
Traditional business, you would have inventory.
You have your business,
Yep.
right? 2,000, 5,000, 10,000, those types of things, and then they would go out and move that to customers over time. Many wouldn't face their fears in order to be able to do the process to do that.
Right.
And then they'd have this stuff sitting in their garage.
Yes.
They used to call it garage qualified.
Yes.
So I'm qualified for my check. The first company that I got involved with in 1988, a long time ago, was water filters. And it was $5,000 to get started. You got 40 filters that you would go demo and sell. And it was,
did you do the test, like the chlorine?
Chlorine test, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then it was another $5,000 in new business that you had to do every month to qualify to get a check.
Wow.
Just
Personal,
to get a check.
personal volume, just to qualify.
So people were probably buying it if they couldn't sell
sure.
it. Yeah.
For sure. I will share this with people because here, imagine this is my whatever it takes mentality at the time. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm involved. And I go full time after like 90 days because I had a little bit of quick success, just lucky from my parents' contacts and stuff. And then it got hard. Okay. Then everything kind of fell apart. My team fell apart, and I'm full time, and I got to pay the bills. I got a little family.
But you were bringing in older people. If it was your parents' contacts, at least.
Some.
Okay.
But most disappeared.
Mostly were probably younger. Yeah.
Yeah. Almost immediately. So, so you have to do $5,000 worth of new volume. Back then, they had UPS would ship the product, and you would order the product COD, cash on demand, collect on demand. You'd have to have a check to the UPS driver to be able to deliver when the product arrived. So you're at the 28th of the month or the 30th of a month.
Right.
And you're like, you haven't got it yet, but you got 8 prospects that are, you're trying to convince them. It's really a good idea if you start, do this before the end of the month. But there's no reason for them to do that at all. But there's a big reason for me for them to do it. But they're probably going to do it anyway.
Right.
So, all right, I'm just going to order and get it on the way.
Right.
So it's now, it's being shipped, takes a week or whatever. And I've got an extra week I buy in order to be able to wait for the COD to arrive.
Wow.
And when it arrives, if I don't have the person yet, then I kind of avoid the UPS driver for a few days until I finally have something.
Right.
And, then that person finally says, yes, great, take that check, put it in and give it to UPS driver, take the stuff, give it to them. But now it's the 10th of the month and I got 20 days to do it again.
Wow.
Right. So I cannot tell you how many months I scrambled and my month got shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter. And in my first 3 years, I had no duplication really. I had addition and subtraction. I didn't have any momentum really with that process, but I'm glad those days are over as far as that extra pressure on this would-be entrepreneur. Now people just connect people to the company at the low price of entry, just on time or right on time type shipping situations. People can have some for their sample for their own personal use. That's all great, but they don't need to have a whole bunch unless they need some for a
big event,
presentation or event or something. So anyway, then I digress, but this is my, when I was your age, I walked to school uphill in the snow against the wind, and you guys, you young kids got it easy with talk to me about your $97 that you got to do to qualify,
right,
whatever.
Right.
Stop it. It's nothing.
Yeah.
But anyway, it did make me tougher.
Yeah.
But man, it was a real challenge.
Yeah.
It was something. And then if you just couldn't pull it off and couldn't qualify and you lost your commissions for that month, you didn't qualify to get your commissions that month.
Well, it was so stressful
brutal.
for us too, because I remember we used to take people to these little loan department places like AmeriQuest, and we would have them go in there and they'd come back out to the car. We would drive them there and we're helping them fill out the application. Like, no, don't say you rent, say you own, because you're not going to get approved if you say you rent. If you own, then it's like collateral and literally. But that's what we were taught. We were taught just to basically have people lie to get the money.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes, right.
There are limits
to
this.
Yes.
There are limits to this. So anyway, you're involved with that first 2 years, you're kind of learning, but you're not earning.
Yeah. Spent more than we made, for sure. For sure, spent more. Because we're running ads, Career Builder, Monster. We're looking for people who are sports minded. We had to pay desk rent. We had to pay for our office phone, our cell phones. There was so much. And then on top of that, we're broke. We live at home with our parents.
They have, similar to Equinox, did they have a training program inside the company?
Oh, yeah.
Where
Every
everybody's
month.
paying for training.
Every month.
Doing the big events and stuff.
Yeah. And they weren't local.
Yeah,
they weren't. They were $250 for EPs, educational programs.
Same model.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And then eventually your goal was to be one of the speakers because you get like a cut of that. And anyway, I remember just being so blown away by every single event I went to. I remember sitting in the seats being like, how do they know what to say? How are they just talking for like an hour straight? They were always so sharp, so dynamic in front of the room. And I would always make sure that I qualified for whatever the leadership recognition thing was. We'd hang out with those people. That was back in my drinking days. I've been sober 15 years, but
Good.
I remember going out drinking with these guys and like, you get to know them a little bit and you're like, they're just as crazy as me. This is fantastic. And of course that actually wasn't a good thing. But with that being said, did that for a little while. Then they got shut down. Nadia and I went into the mortgage industry and we crushed.
So you met all the way back then?
Oh yeah. We met in the very first company. Yeah.
Oh, how long you guys been together now then?
19 years.
19 years. Oh, good.
Married. Yeah.
19 years married?
22 plus years together.
Yeah, our son's 18. He's going to be going off to college in 3 weeks.
You got to have the mic a little closer.
Yes.
19 years married, 22 together.
Yeah.
So, all right. So is your story any different?
So for me, because I moved here and my parents sacrificed a lot. So they lived like below poverty level. So I came with a mission. Like I couldn't speak English very well. I like graduated quickly from college at 19. And I remember getting my first job. Like this is my story, right? I was so motivated. I became this assistant manager at Finish Line. I brought my spirit of excellence. And my first check, 2 weeks into it, I remember looking at it thinking, who is FICA? Why is FICA taking all my money? And so I just remember having that moment of realizing this whole traditional, like get a job and work really hard. Like I knew immediately. Now, before I got recruited into that company, I did Mary Kay in college. I was an aggression session. Now, back in the day,
an aggression session.
Like I was so criticized by my upline because they go, Nadia, we're in a people business, right? They should kind of like you if you want them to follow you and your beautiful protocols and your beautiful ideas. So they really, really criticized me. So I started to recognize like, okay, maybe I should read the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Polish things
like,
a bit.
Polish it. I was a little too
She had no
rough.
tolerance.
I had
no tolerance
zero
for people.
tolerance, Eric.
Or excuses.
I'm like, wait, I don't understand. So you have this big goal. You don't show up early to the meet. Like I was a drill sergeant. Like I really enjoyed my time.
But in her
Now,
defense, she's from Russia.
Didn't enjoy it.
Marina's the same.
Right? Yeah. It's like you come all the way here from Russia at 16.
I had contrast.
Yeah.
Where most people that I was talking to, they had none. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like what in America is considered a necessity, in other countries, it's a luxury. So when I moved to America, I'm like, wait, grocery store has so much abundance to this day, Eric. I love going to the grocery store. All the fruits and all the vegetables. I still grow my own, like it's a different kind of mindset. So anyways, fast forward, I, first of all, had a huge vision. So a lot of times, right, for those of us that maybe don't want to step outside of our comfort zone, like at 16, I came halfway across the world, no internet, 1996. Do you guys remember Y2K? Like Y2K, I feel like it was last century,
It literally was.
And it was. Thank
Back
you, John.
in AOL days when they're sending out CDs to everybody.
Yeah.
But it's not like she could just get in touch with her parents.
No,
so her
I
parents,
was alone.
sending your 16-year-old to another country. And then being like, hope these people are normal.
That's true. So anyways, I get started in network marketing. I captivate this vision. I'm thinking I'm going to buy my own island. I call my family in Russia. I'm like, you guys get ready. Scarcity will be behind us soon. And my parents were so critical. They're like, gosh, we just paid all this money for you to go to college. And they said all this negative OPO, So I hung up and somehow
explain OPO.
OPO, other people's opinions.
Yeah.
So they didn't catch my vision. Very much like that doesn't sound good. Network marketing didn't have a good reputation at the time in Russia. And I just remember thinking, wow, that's their ideas. You know, they're halfway across the world. What can they do to stop me? Goodbye. I'm going to do what I need to do. And yes, so the first 10 years, I would say, Eric, in our career, it didn't, like, I did have some quick success, like what you were saying, because like numbers, I had no fear for
Just from the
whatever
grind.
reason. I just grinded.
Like to faint.
I spoke with a heavy accent. I wasn't smiling much, but like my advantage was I had an amazing work ethic at the time. Still do today. A little bit crushed it. For sure, it got a little heavy, you know, when the FTC shut it down. And then we a little bit lost the vision for sure. Like we started working, we got into traditional business. And after a couple of years of that.
Well, let's talk about that. You went into the mortgage business?
Mortgage industry.
When?
Yeah.
When? What year?
2004.
2004. I've heard this story several times from several people in conversation in the chairs you're sitting in. And many of them was like, yeah, about 2004,
Yep.
you know, we started going.
Yeah.
And we know the end of this story. I'm assuming that let me see if I can guess it.
Yeah.
You built and it was going great. And then 2008 hit and everything, you got the rug pulled out from underneath you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus
2008, 2009.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I got a job because this guy that I had recruited his girlfriend into the previous company. I don't want to go on a whole rant about that, but he was very sharp, very smart. And he's like, I think you would crush it in mortgages. But this was like, 8-9 months before that company went out of business. And I remember thinking, I don't know what a mortgage is. No idea what that even means, but okay. And just kind of like, just remembered that
Filed it
conversation because he was sharp and he dropped out of college to do it. And I dropped out of college. And, so anyway, we were in Colorado and unfortunately, my father died. Then shortly after that, Nadia got pregnant and we're like out in Colorado. We're kind of doing this other company, but not really. We're basically sleeping in every day till 12, going out drinking. We're waiting tables. We're not really doing much. And we were going to get a job as mortgage bankers. And I remember, and I kind of mentioned Boiler Room. I remember we went to go work for this one mortgage company.
Oh my gosh, countrywide.
Countrywide. They hired Nadia because she had a college degree.
Yes.
And I'm in there, like we're in the office. They won't hire me because I dropped out of college. I have no degree. And I remember being in there and being like, it is literally I hate to say this on your podcast, but it was a sausage fest. It's like freaking 30, 40 dudes. And then they're going to hire, and I'm like, that's just not happening. Obviously, I'm not going to have my pregnant girlfriend at the time work with all these dudes, and I can't work there because I don't have a degree. So I hit up Tom, and I'm like, hey, man, so if I come back to Maryland, if I come back there, do you think you can get me a job? And he's like, absolutely, 100%. So we moved back to Maryland, and, she's pregnant. So we're also like, we're going to get support from my mom, and like, it'll be a lot easier. And anyway, so we ended up doing mortgages and the first year I made $125,000, which was astronomical. I'd never even made $30,000 in a year waiting tables. I was a rookie of the year, number one loan officer. But it's interesting, took what I learned in network marketing.
Of course.
And then she's pregnant at a different mortgage company where our upline from our previous company was, right? Knox. And she's crushing it. Now, not as much as me because she's pregnant, but the two of us are making more money than we know what to do with, and that was eye-opening. That was when I got a taste.
Yeah.
And I liked that taste.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to keep making money like this. And when because we had contrast, comparing it to what we did in that first network marketing company, it was like the easiest thing in the world because it's all phone calls.
Well, yeah. I mean, the skills that you learn here, people don't really understand what it does to the other traditional businesses. Even people who come into the profession and leave, they're like, well, now this has just got easy. Yeah. Because wait, you're going to provide leads, or whatever is happening. So it's just leads, finding leads, contacting, inviting, presenting, following up, closing. I mean, this is not hard. Right. This is a piece of cake. And you have structure.
And you have people skills. You have work ethic. Like, someone says, hey, follow up with me a year from now. I followed up with them a year to the day.
Yes.
Like they were blown away and I outworked everybody. I made 100 calls a day. And it was funny because I remember at first, so the guy that hires me, he says, if you make 100 calls a day, you'll make 6 figures. And I straight up told him, I don't know what a mortgage is, but I will outwork every loan officer in your company.
Right.
And, I went to work and absolutely body slammed it. Next year, I was the number 1 loan officer. I still made 500 calls every single week. And I remember because they would post the call logs.
Sure.
So, you get these guys like six-figure seeger. We were talking about this just yesterday. So he would walk in my office. He's flipping up the football. And, he's out there in the cubicle with everybody else. I have an office because I'm a top, loan officer. And he's like, how do you do it? And I'm like, I'm on the phone. I'm always on the phone. I'm going to the bathroom. I got my headset in. It was all just work ethic. And it was because of what I learned in network marketing.
You know what reminds me of is The Wolf of Wall Street, when Leonardo DiCaprio's character walks into that little pink slip or whatever off-market strip mall,
penny stock
brokerage, and he just does what is a normal call to him, and they all look like he just invented fire. Like, what in the world? And that's like the skills you learn in network marketing. You just walk in, I can do that. Then people are like, where did you come from? Who are you?
Right.
What is going on? So
it gives you thick skin, Eric. And I think that's the thing that you mentioned this. A lot of people got lazy over the last 3, 4, 5 years because of social media.
Maybe spoiled.
Spoiled is a better word. Yeah, they don't have the thick skin. They're not tough.
Yeah, you need some adversity for some toughness. You went through some adversity, but you learned. Here's what I would tell you. There's what happens sometimes in network marketing is there's learning seasons and there's earning seasons. It's like this a little rhymey thing that I didn't mean to be rhymey, but sometimes you're just learning, and maybe the company is mismanaged, doesn't do well, or for whatever reason, you have a need to move on. But the skills go with you.
Yeah.
The attributes, the attitude, the toughness goes with you, and you can use that in other places, whether inside network marketing or out.
Yeah.
People use these skills to improve their homes and relationships, all kinds of things. So. Talk to me about 2008, 2009. What happened? Just everything just came to a halt, and it was...
Well, we were making so much money.
Yeah.
And then we decided, let's be really optimized and let's invest all of our money. And then we went through a stage where we paid stupid tax. Where we bought 7 properties, we bought them high, and then we gave them away to the banks. So when 2007, 2008 came about, 2006, we got started back in network marketing because it started to kind of settle in that you're only as good as your last month. Mm-hmm. And at this point, we have, Dylan, and we want to be able to have more flexibility than being in the office. So we get started with a company where we then spent 7 years of our life, very much old school, where we went above and beyond. We squeezed 40 years of work into 5. Mm-hmm. And at one point, I'm pregnant with our second one with Christina and Eric. I'm like pregnant. We're doing 2 meetings every night. We're doing Friday night leadership. We're doing Saturday training. Like, we're committed. Like, this is, again, I'm on a mission to buy an island. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no stopping now. And we did move my family here from Russia. So we are making money. I have in-home babysitters. We're doing these things. And then we have Christina. On a Tuesday, she's 10 pounds, 2 ounces.
Wow.
Ginormous baby, right? So Saturday before that, we did a Saturday training, had her on a Tuesday. And then Saturday, we're getting back in the car to go do the training. And I remember my mom looked at me and she's like, Nadia, this, like, just her look kind of communicated, there's got to be a better way. Mm. And, this is when we kind of started to, and really John is like such a visionary. I was such a worker. I was like bathing in this Kool-Aid. We were so committed. We got to the second highest level in this company to find ourselves with golden handcuffs. And then he goes, baby, maybe there's something to this internet thing, right? Mm-hmm. Can we go there?
So we went all in on the dates. We went all in 2008.
Yeah.
Finally started making 6 figures in network marketing after kind of playing with it for 7 years. Mm-hmm. So for 2008, 2013, that's what she's talking about. That 5-year run. I mean, it was brutal. We went on a 90-day run every 90 days for 5 years because there was a big convention every 90 days. So it's like, you go to the convention, you get fired up, your team's there, and then you go on a run 90 days. There's another big convention. And it was just that burnout, that MLM PTSD was significant.
I'll tell you a quick story. In early 2000s, I had one little season of about 2 years or so where I wasn't directly involved in network marketing. I had sold a company, figured out a way to lose all my money, invested everything into a media company that didn't work out. It was kind of before its time. Lost that, fired myself as CEO of that company. And I remember asking my friends, living in the country club, hanging out, talking with them, and like, so guys, what strategies do you have to be able to make $1 million a year?
Good question.
Do you have any advice, any thoughts, any ideas, any brainstorming? And they laughed and laughed, and they're like, what? Well, first, you got to have some money. Second, you need to add like 20 years.
Oh.
Third, you have to be amazingly good. And then after that, you got to watch your back. Like, oh, that's the plan? Well,
That's horrifying.
That doesn't sound like a good plan to me at all.
Especially the watch your back part.
Yeah, because really, but that's the truth.
Be paranoid. Yeah.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
As soon as that's happening, somebody's coming to take that company.
Right.
So I went back into network marketing, and within 2 years, at $1 million a year. It took me 2 years to get that. So it's like, well, they're dumb. That plan's stupid.
Yeah.
I could take my same influence here and just go be able to recreate it. Right. I'm gonna go do that, which I did.
Yeah.
I just want to jump in and quickly interrupt this podcast interview and give those of you involved in network marketing a very special message. And that message is this: if you want to grow your business, I can help. If you're just getting started, you don't have any recruits yet, you don't have much of a team, I can help you get to your first 10 recruits. If you've got some recruiting going on, but you need more help with duplication, I can help you on your journey from part-time to full-time. And if you're a serious player, I can help you scale and grow your business. All you have to do is go to goproacademy.com, goproacademy.com. Wherever you are in your journey of network marketing, this program will help you get where you want to go much, much faster. I've helped millions of people learn how to recruit. I've helped tens of thousands of people get to 6-figure a year income. And I've helped over 500 people get to a 7-figure annual income inside of this network marketing profession. I can help you too. Go to goproacademy.com, goproacademy.com. So let's spend the rest of time talking about social media.
Yeah.
Internet shows up. You start going, when did you go, this could be a thing?
So
you remember?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
2012. Yes.
2012.
Yes.
The 4-Hour Work Week. Tim Ferriss.
Yes.
Also.
Do you remember that book?
Sure.
It opened up our minds.
But also,
especially when he said you got to think globally.
Yeah.
We're like, wow, we were like living in this little shell.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, what were we doing?
Well, and all the face-to-face, belly-to-belly stuff that we did in the early days is still amazing and good. And face-to-face changes relationships, all of that. I remember 2009. I'm like, this Facebook thing could be a thing. That was back in the MySpace days. People had their own custom music on MySpace. They picked their theme song when people came to their page. Everybody was, who is it? Tom. I think it was Tom. Everybody was automatically friends and connected with Tom, the MySpace guy. But Facebook came out, and I said, I remember telling my kids, I think I'm going to do this Facebook thing. And they just freaked out. They're like, this is for students. Don't be the creepy old guy. If you go on it, we're going off of it. We're blocking you. This is so embarrassing. Don't you dare, try and friend up one of our friends.
They call it cringy.
Yes.
Like, Mom, don't be cringy.
Super cringe.
Yeah.
But I did, and I saw it. I remember talking to Gary Vaynerchuk. That's where Network Marketing Pro kind of started from that. So you're a few years after that. You're in the grind, doing the thing. And about what would you say, 2013?
Yeah, I would say 2012 is when we started paying attention to like
11 years
Gary
ago.
V, Chalene Johnson, Mike Dillard, Magnetic Sponsoring, right? Ray Higdon, We started seeing these people. But you know what really got me to start doing videos and wanting to figure out how to build online? First of all, we were burnt out. We were totally burnt out on the old school. And I was like,
Right. Well, if you do 90-day run back to back to back to back
for 5 years.
That'll
We
wear-
didn't miss a
that'll wear you
convention
out.
for 7 years. I mean, a convention every 90 days. The point is our back was against the wall. And I'm like, I love the money we're making and I want to make more, but I'm not seeing how we can scale this without even more sacrifice. Like we're going to have to literally like live in other places and be on planes. There's got to be either I'm going to figure out a better way to do it from home, which ended up being online, right? Social media, or I'm out of network marketing. I'm just going to be done with it. And David Wood and his little Empower Network videos. And I'm just like, this blogging
It's so funny,
thing,
the poor guy.
I know. But he definitely was one that got my attention with his little cartoon videos.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this seems, and he was like, he's pointing out all the flaws because he did Amway. And I still remember his little videos. And you didn't even see the guy, I don't think, in his early videos. It was like cartoons.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm looking at, and then I remember, Eric, I tried to talk to Nadia and she is just like blinders on, doesn't want to hear it. So I have to do this all on my own. Like I'm riding this roller
So
coaster.
you're like, I'm out. I'm doing my way.
No, she's still doing the old school.
I'm out of your stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She didn't want to hear about it. So I couldn't talk to her, couldn't talk to my upline, couldn't talk to my downline, had no one to talk to. And then eventually a couple guys.
I told him, I'm like, baby, you're being negative.
Yeah.
Like, what is going on? Your depression session. I don't subscribe.
Right. And then I had a couple
You know?
buddies of mine that left the company we were in. And it's like, they're like the Antichrist, right? That's how it is. Especially back then. It's like, oh, they left. They're, traders, all these things. And I'm like, I know those guys. They're not like that. I was like, I want to talk to them, but like, I think it's like, even if I talk to them, I might get in trouble. Like, that's how it was back then. It was like, if they found out you were even looking at something else, you're suspended, terminated, out.
Still is something.
It is, yeah. And actually that company probably still would do that to some people. But long story short, I get on the phone with a couple of these guys and it was over. And I didn't even join them, but it was over.
You saw how they were doing it.
When they explained to me the differences, and this isn't a pitch on product companies, but we were in a service-based company. And when they explained to me that when you're in a product-based company, everyone you recruit, they're automatically qualified. In the company we were in, you didn't get paid on the $500 fee. That was just a fee. You had to get these people qualified with services. It was just such a nightmare. And when I get on the phone with these guys and they explain to me, and they're both in different companies, but they're good friends of mine. I trusted them. I remember being in the driveway for like 2 hours one night and my mind is racing. And I'm like, I gotta tell Nadia. It's time for her to know what I've been researching and I need to get her to listen this time. So I sat her down. I explained everything. And I'm like, we need to find a good product.
This is why I married you, John.
And-
He's the only one that is able to move a mountain. How did you do it? Go ahead.
And Eric, she's like, after I'm done talking to her, she's like, I'm done. I'm like, no, we can't quit yet. I haven't even found a company. She's like, no, I'm done. I can't even do this company anymore. And I'm like, wait. You can't quit yet. I need to find a company. Like, so she was done. Like literally she stopped going to meetings. Yeah. Everybody's like, where's Nadia for like 3 months while I'm trying all these products. I'm getting on the phone with owners. I'm like, if I go somewhere else, I'm going somewhere good with the top people. Like I knew I was following the top 100 income earners in network marketing. I'm friending them all up. I'm getting on phone calls and I'm having to do all of this without my upline finding out, without my downline finding out. Like I'm freaking out, but I'm so
secret
determined. Agent. Yes. And actually I had some really good conversations with people that educated me on different things. And the long and the short of it is we ended up joining Vima. Because I loved BK. We were actually in New Vision. That was the company we went to when the Trek company got shut down. We went to New Vision. Then they turned into Vima. And I still remember saying, oh, dude, they're going to do online marketing. They're going to use the internet.
That's for old people.
That's for old people.
That's so boring.
Yeah. In 2003.
But can I pause you though too, John? Yeah. So when all that went down, we at the time, we branded ourselves by that company.
Right.
So, and then we
Big
go,
mistake.
wait a minute, maybe we ought to unsubscribe from being an infomercial channel and let's begin building a brand. So in 2013, the big decision that happened for us is we started to really adapt this. Let's show up with value. Yeah. Let's be very secretive about what business we represent, because clearly, if you don't own your network marketing company. Right. So if something happens and we've had the rug pulled from under us. So we started building the brand whilst he
Your personal brand.
is
Yeah.
personal
We started
brand
doing attraction marketing,
on
bottom line. Yeah.
Facebook. We started doing videos. And for John, it came really, really easy because I say he's an extrovert and like you're very good with people. So he like, it was just awkward videos, you know, where you could see up his nose and like just things.
I'm, like,
but he started
driving.
talking.
Talking to the camera.
He started talking. For me, it was really, really brutal. So when people go, gosh, I'm like really bad at this, I'm really bad
I
at
can't
that.
imagine it being brutal.
It's everything I'm good at today.
I want to
really bad
I want
at.
to see the bad.
Oh, I
videos.
deleted all the footage.
What?
Yes.
She deleted-
Yes.
I couldn't get her to upload videos.
No.
It must exist somewhere.
I deleted all of it. I could probably find like the first.
Everybody, if you're
hundreds of
listening and you
videos.
have an old bad video of Nadia, will you please send it to me?
Send it.
Please, please.
Okay, let's see if it comes up. I'm usually very diligent, but let's see. You never know. But that's like nowadays, if I could go back and change one thing, I would keep all that footage.
Of course.
Because now I have better perspective.
Yeah,
like
you
life
could say,
makes
look where
sense.
I was, look where I am.
Yes, it makes sense when you look at it backwards, and it would be great comedic value. Can you imagine? Like I would be laughing. I appreciate good comedy. Anyways, but I did a 30-day challenge is what I want to say. Like because I was so bad at it, and I decided to me at the time again, we had to, our number one initiative became, we have to replace an old school model. Like we only had one income stream with 6 figures. I'm like, we need to replace at least a 6-figure income, but we have to do it online because our kids and like all these things. And that initiative pushed me so far outside of my comfort zone. It was brutal. Maybe John, remember I would like record this cringy videos and I would be sweat. Oh, it was just
Well, I remember
bad.
you with your selfie stick. Like everywhere we went, she's always recording
And then
videos.
I became obsessed.
Yeah.
This is right.
It would
Whatever
drive-
happened to
Obsession is
selfies?
key.
I know.
You just
I know.
don't see them anymore.
I know. We were talking about that recently.
That's true.
But she'd be at events and she's recording these videos and she's grabbing people. And
Because they still look better than holding it with your hand.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Why do people stop doing it?
true.
I don't know.
I think airport security.
Really?
Oh, there's definitely places that like banned
That's right.
the selfie sticks.
Yeah,
but
like
she
theme
was,
parks. I
She
think
was
theme parks
she was
discouraged
determined,
me.
and those videos definitely changed the game for us because we started to figure out how to create valuable content, attract like-minded people, tell our story on social media, and we didn't say the name of the company. So when Vima got shut down by the FTC, which totally sucked. I mean, we had 7,000 people on our team in 2 years. But when they got shut down, it wasn't even, it was like a
didn't skip
blip.
a beat.
You're okay.
Yeah.
Because you had your skills.
We
you
immediately
had-
replaced our income.
You had your abilities.
Yeah.
You had your network. You had your brand.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but I would also let me just mention one thing because people are like, wow, this wreckage of company after company that didn't do well. Vima, in my personal opinion, was a pretty wildly unfair.
Yes.
Ridiculous.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Somebody made somebody mad. Some government person
Mhm.
got mad and just decided to just put this nice little company on blast.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it was an unfair thing. BK, amazing guy.
Yeah.
People involved, amazing. I think the products were amazing. But sometimes you look at what's going on in our world today. In the United States, as an example, if somebody wants to get you
Mhm.
in the government, they're going to get you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If somebody wants to, if they say if a police officer follows any person driving on the road for 50 miles, they're going to find something.
That's
Yeah.
true.
They're
that
going
is
to
right.
cross a line. They're going to do something.
I think one of the big reasons they got in trouble was there was a lot of young people making a lot of money. And, look, at the end of the day, yeah, sure, the income claims, the hype, they were probably over promoting the income opportunity too much, but they were the hottest company on social media, which is what we were looking for because we wanted to get away from the home media stuff.
And I think my personal opinion is they were loudly saying college is a scam.
Yes.
Mhm.
The educational system, the higher education system is a scam to load you up with student debt. And, there's a better way. We've got a better way. Let's go break the system.
Which a lot of people would now agree with.
Basically. No, I know.
That's the funny
But
part.
I mean,
But
I remember going.
they were
into-
upsetting the wrong people.
I remember going into one of their meetings. They got a DJ on the stage, and they start the meeting by doing the They're doing the Wolf of Wall Street chant. And I'm like, oh, where am I? There's like one person who's like 40 years old in the back of the room as a chaperone kind of for these 19-year-olds that are out there going crazy.
So you just reminded me of something. One of our last events, we recruited Bob Heilig.
Okay, sure.
Because his company
Nice
said,
guy.
hey, we're not going to be an MLM anymore, but we'll still pay you your check. He was in some energy company. And he wanted to build his brand. He's like, I think I could do that too. I want to like maybe do that. And he didn't do a video for like ever. I think we got him to record one, but he never uploaded it. And he was just like very particular, like Nadia, yours truly, right? But long story short, Bob joins us in Vima. And then 6 months later, I'm like, hey man, so Vima's shut down. He's like, you're kidding. I'm like, no, I think they'll open back up tomorrow, but they're shut down. Now, of course, that would end up being like 9 months later. And so that was not true. But you know what? This just reminded me. You came to an event and you spoke on stage and you put your phone, you went live on Periscope.
Yeah, I remember
And you put your phone in your jacket pocket.
Oh, yeah.
So you were speaking to the Vima audience while you were live on Periscope.
Yeah, I
and
remember.
when you were done, Bob turns to me. This is how he launched his brand.
Yep.
He turns to me. This is a year of us trying to get him to do videos and he wouldn't do it. He turns to me and goes, I think I'm going to go live on Periscope every morning at 8 a.m. because of you, because you did
Funny.
that Periscope. I just remembered
I
that.
put it in my suit pocket.
Yes.
You just did the whole talk and it's kind of like a body cam.
Yes.
Or something
Yes.
like
Yeah,
a police
yeah, yeah.
officer
Yes.
body cam for an event. That's a good idea.
That's how live
I haven't
video
done that
started.
a long time ago.
Yeah.
So in this discussion, I don't want this to freak people out. It's just like, if I get involved with a company, are they going to be around for forever? Let me be straight with everybody. Companies come and go. Professionals are forever. Companies come and go. Nothing is forever. Show me a company that lasts forever.
Right.
Some have shorter lives, some have medium lives, some have longer lives. Most people, if you work for a software company, that company might go out of business, but you have your software skills, you go to another company. Now, we hope it doesn't, because the relationships and the stability that we build and organizations that we build and all that stuff, we hope. But the reason why I encourage people to become professionals is you are the asset, ultimately. And we do our due diligence, we do our best, and we hope. Yeah. Recently I posted, 60 different companies that I've spoken for over the course of the last 14 years. And there's some of them that are no longer here. And, it's sad. Yeah. But it's part of life. They say the S&P 500, 60% of the S&P 500 will not exist in 5 years.
Wow.
60% of the top 500 companies in the world will not exist. They'll either be gobbled up or be eliminated by competition. You take a look at MySpace versus Facebook. You take a look at, different things that they're going to change. Things are going to change. But if you decide to become
We're talking about Periscope, Eric. Right?
Yeah, Periscope.
Bought out by Twitter. Yeah.
And then Vine. And then all these different things that are coming in and coming out. Who knows where it's going to be? It doesn't matter.
Right.
Platform doesn't matter. If it's going to be TikTok today and then TikTok's gone and it's going to be, Bing Bang tomorrow, well, we're all going to be on Bing Bang. Yeah. It doesn't matter. It's, wherever we can build an audience. If YouTube says no to somebody because of their political beliefs, they'd go to Rumble. And they'll go do it over there. There's always going to be a way if you have the skills. Yeah. If you're completely, totally dependent on company or platform, that's one thing. If you have the skills, now you have all the power. Yeah. It's just like today, news and mainstream media news, I believe in the last 12 months has been eviscerated. And news has now become decentralized. A year from today, 2 years from today, people will not tune into anything that's quote unquote mainstream. They'll go to their news sources, those content creators. Look at what's happening with Tucker Carlson, these different types of people, and getting outside of Fox, and then him just going direct. 10x his reach on X now, I guess they're calling it. But if that doesn't happen, it doesn't matter. Yeah. The content creator, the value person is the one who has all the power. And if you have all the skills and all the power, you're in a good place.
That's it.
Because you have the ability to say, screw off to somebody, or some powerful person that's trying to get you to compromise your morals or your integrity, say, nope, bye. You don't own me. You don't control me. You are the boss. You are the CEO. So it's a very unique time, whether it's news or influence. Take a look at the influencers.
Yeah.
You know, Dwayne Johnson went from WWE to movies to owning 30% of a $6 billion tequila company.
Wow.
As one of his companies.
Right. Ryan Reynolds just had a couple $billion.
Ryan Reynolds, huge. Again, it's
Build
the brand,
Yes.
the brand,
Yes.
the brand, the brand, which leads you to opportunity. The brand leads you to conversations you wouldn't have been in. In our business, in the network marketing business, the brand leads you to prospects, leaders, leads you to distributors. It leads you to build a connection with people that want to do business with you.
Yeah.
You know, Mark Wahlberg, who lives here in Las Vegas, he has, 12, 13, 14 companies on top of the movies that he does. And why? Because he built a brand.
Yep.
So talk about the lessons that you've learned in social. How many people have you guys collectively recruited since you started in social media, if you had to guess?
Well,
I
want to say a couple things. First of all, everyone should build a brand. And if someone says they're not building a brand, it's like, well, that's your brand. So even if you don't think you're building a brand, then your brand is that you don't have one and you have no presence on social media. And, you know, at the end of the day, attention equals eyeballs, eyeballs equals money. But gosh, I mean, last year was my best recruiting year. And I enrolled 122 people personally because of the brand, because of
our combined between the two of you?
Well, Nadia is more behind the scenes. Like
I understand. I know it's a team.
Yeah, combined. Yeah, she doesn't like recruit people separate from me.
Yeah, you guys work.
And actually, I was going to say this too. She's the brains behind our entire infrastructure, our brand, even with our team. Like I'm the one working day to day with the team. I'm all over it. I'm in the trenches, but she's the one that's like got everything organized, and she's got our virtual staff trained on how to work the groups and support the team and all the things. So, you know, couples that work together, like, man, that's a whole other conversation, but it's so important to figure out like who's going to be the lead, what do you like and dislike, not necessarily strengths and weaknesses as much as likes and dislikes. Like I like working with the team every day. I'm in the trenches. I like recruiting. I like doing videos. She's not into that stuff as much, but when she does a video,
she'll do it.
It gets way more views. It's way better. It's way more polished. So we both have like the different ways that we show up to build the brand and connect with the community. But it literally puts you in a situation. This is the main point. It puts you in a situation where you never have to worry about money again.
Yeah. Because you can flex anytime you want to flex.
Right.
Yeah.
I can launch something.
Promote a product to your company, promote an event,
Mm-hmm.
you know, anything that'll be able to go in. So give me an idea generally with your current company. How many people have you personally sponsored?
I mean, hundreds. I'm not sure the exact number.
I mean, 500? You did
probably not that many.
400, 300?
400's probably.
All right. Let's say 400.
300 to 400, I'd say.
300 to 400. How many of those 300 to 400 came from social media versus
the majority
versus friends or people you met or whatever, percentage wise?
I love that you ask that. So 14 years of doing network marketing, in our last company getting shut down. We had 7,000 people on our team in Vima. When it got shut down, we were there for 2 years. And then 14 years in the profession. 99% of the people in my business right now today did not know me in 2015 when we launched the company we're with now, which we've been with for almost 8 years. They didn't know me. They didn't know me. They didn't know Nadia.
Here's the lesson. It's really important because a lot of people have this limiting belief that if I don't know a lot of people,
yes, exactly,
I can't grow. It's just, I just don't know that many people. I live in a small town. I have all these limiting beliefs, and I understand their limiting beliefs because, well, what are going to be my raw materials in order to be able, what's my inventory of prospects to be able to go to? Most people join network marketing because they have a mental candidate list of people that would probably join with them.
So true.
So then they say, okay, here's my credit card. Let's join. And then they start with that mental candidate list. Oh, this person would be perfect. This person would be amazing. This person's going to say yes for sure. And they have yes or no happens with that first little thing. Most people, they go to their first 5. If they get one, they're probably going to stay around. If they get none of their first 5, they're probably going to say, I guess it didn't work. It's like a lottery ticket, rip it up and move on.
Yeah.
But when I ask this question of top earners, what percentage of your current downline or let's even make it more finite. What percentage of your personal recruits knew you the day that you joined your company? And it's always 5% or less.
Yeah, tiny.
It's who you meet after.
Yeah.
It's who you connect with after. It's learning the networking skill of connecting with other people and building kind of a brand that people say, you know what, I'd like to do business with this person. You know what, I'm going to find out what they do. You know what, I'm going to send them a DM. You know what, they said, put I'm in the comments if I'm interested. I'm going to put I'm in and see what happens.
Yeah.
So anybody who's a little stressed about not knowing enough people, this profession will teach you how to be able to find unlimited prospects, where you never really have to stress about that again. That was my biggest stress when I first got involved in network marketing.
Leads.
Is I made my list.
Yeah.
I remember making my first list of 100 people, right? You start with the best ones that are probably going to do this. And then you have your loser friends at the bottom, that you'll get to eventually, or the negative people on your team, whatever, or in your mind.
Or the chicken list. You're like,
I'm not ready for that. Or they're too successful. So I remember going to the top of my list and going to them with a lot of excitement, but also a lot of fear and very little skill.
Yeah.
So I was a buffoon with my first person, and they said no. So I scratched that one off. And I remember started scratching off the people on my list. They said no, 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 no. And as it's going down, my anxiety is going up. Like I'm running out. I don't have anybody. It never dawned on me that finding prospects was a skill.
Wow.
Never even dawned on me that networking and connecting with people was a skill. You have who you know. They used to say, out of 100 oysters, there's going to be 3 pearls. So I'm like, where's my freaking pearls? I'm crossing off the list. They must be in the bottom 3 or something, because the ones that I got were like bad pearls. They would come in and they'd quit the business like one day later, or they'd go into the witness protection program as soon as they signed up. And I'd be like, where are you? Why are you not calling me back? What happened? You just joined 3 days ago. So I'm going through, my anxiety's going up, 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 up. And it took me running out to realize that this was a skill, and going, oh, okay, where do I start? And I remember there's a guy, can't remember his name, but he did a training, and he said, how many people feel like you've run out of people to talk to? I raised my hand, me. And he gave me this basic training that just says, move heaven and earth, find one person. Find one person, whatever you have to do. If you have to go talk to 1,000 people to find one, then do that, whatever you have to do. Okay. And then once you find that one, have them, you have some skill now, have them introduce you to their network, which is 200 people. Right. So now you have 200 fresh people to talk to. And I was like, oh,
I get it.
And if I can get 10% of those, that's 20 people that goes into their group. They're going to be excited. And then I can go talk to their 200 people, which is now 4,000. Oh, done. While I'm rebuilding my network, I'm just going to do that.
Yeah.
So that was my whole strategy. So anyway, back to social media. Walk me through the lessons that you've learned, and what are the things that every person should focus on if they want to utilize the social media platforms in order to be able to find prospects, make friends, make connections, turn those into prospects, turn those prospects into customers and distributors. How do what are the lessons learned from doing that?
Yes, great question. First of all, your funny has reached the next level, Eric.
Why?
Just
You're
your
funny.
face and the way you explain. Oh, I love it.
When did you find the sense of humor part? Because you were so serious when you started.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, my sense of humor. So John says I was always funny, but I have invested in comedy courses. Because it's true. Everything is a skill set.
Yeah.
And I took masterclass, Steve Martin.
Yep.
And I realized they're very intelligent. To be a comedian, you
Did
have
you
to
read
be
his book?
very intelligent. I have not read his book.
Read his book. It's called Born Standing Up.
Oh.
It's excellent.
Oh,
How much he thinks about it is amazing.
it's amazing. Like Ellen DeGeneres, right? Like just the mindset that they bring. But I learned if you can make them laugh, you can make them buy. And boring on social media doesn't work that well. Now, I also know I love to laugh. Like I think for most of us, right? Like when we first start to build a brand, we try to mimic somebody that we really love. You know what I mean? And there's a transition that happens once you just decide to show up. So once we decided we're going to build a brand, then we knew we were going to be bad at it before we were like, okay, at it, and then good and great. So that transition, the sooner it happens, the better. And the biggest, I would say, the biggest asset that the two of us have is once we decide, we go all in and we just master it. And we do 30 days at the time, which is why we love your brand. I don't believe you can make a professional level of income until you decide to become a professional and you invest into a skill set. And everything is a skill set. My funny, I think I've developed a skill set. Like I love to laugh. I love to bring joy. And if I can make them laugh, then they want to probably hang with me. And
Funny,
that works
funny equals money, baby.
for us.
Funny equals money.
So when it comes to this social media, like I love what you said, because if we don't have this abundance mindset when it comes to recruiting, when it comes to building a brand, when it comes to lead generation, like that's a hindrance.
It used to annoy me.
Yeah.
Pardon me for interrupting, but it used to annoy me because people say there's 7 billion people on the planet. You know, there's plenty of people to talk to. I said, well, I don't know them. You know, that, yeah, they might exist, but I don't know them. How am I going to talk to these people? I'm not walk to people up to people on the street. What the heck?
Yeah.
You know, so I agree. We can have an abundance mentality because now we have the tools.
We have the tools now. We have contrast, because back in the day, we were calling resumes. Like that was exhausting, right? So I think when you take a look at platforms like TikTok, right? AI kind of like platform where it's a platform where you can have 0 followers, open up an account, create a video, and TikTok is going to help you build your audience, right? Now, if you suck in the beginning, we need to rip the Band-Aid off and we need to go all in and we need to create. Like when we first did a run, like when TikTok came out, John is like, baby, I think we have to master it. I'm like, you're right. So let's do a 30-day run. Let's throw everything at it, but the kitchen sink. Like, let's try trends. Let's try face to camera. Let's try B-roll footage. Like, let's just be curious. I think when we stop being frustrated, right, with social media and things and overwhelmed, and we start being like fascinated and curious. So we had so much fun with it. We created 218 videos, something like that, in 60 days. And we grew that following by 60,000 people. So we learned, like, and then I just kind of like became a mathematician. Math was my minor in college. So then I love to go back and look like, okay, what worked, what didn't, like, what can we do better? And it consistently evolves. So I think, making a decision to build a personal brand, because that's going to give you the luxury to create your own economy. And in the beginning, I feel it's not our job to know everything. Like sometimes the how-to is not about business. I do believe that, when God gives you a vision, he doesn't create junk. And I think sometimes we're so selfish, right? When we just go, well, me. But if social media, if you look at it like you're opening up a bank account, you cannot withdraw from an empty bank account. You have to show up consistently. You have to be diligent. You have to bring value. You have to find yourself in the process whilst having fun.
Yeah. Here's and finding ways to be funny, even if you're not a funny person necessarily. Like I never played with memes and all that stuff, just started recently.
Yeah.
And the engagement, nuts.
Yeah.
Nuts. Instagram alone is probably quadrupled account engagement in the last 60 days.
Wow.
Quadrupled.
Wow.
Just from finding something funny and then
people
being clever enough to think of a caption that would go with the silly video. So, and you got to play with it a little bit, because I decided to be a little bit edgy with it on purpose, because it was not my brand. And people are like, who's hijacked his account, right? I'm going a little bit more edgy, a little bit more colorful, a little bit more fruity, whatever you want to call it, spicy.
Spicy.
And some, I found the line where I went too far. Pull those down. You know, like I don't need to do that. I took one from There's Something About Mary, the quote from There's Something About Mary, where Matt Dillon's talking to Cameron Diaz and he's trying to impress her. And he says, you know, so what do you do? He said, oh, I work with retards. That's what he says in the movie. It's a movie quote. Okay. I work with the cute little fellas, you know, and I posted the caption, what I tell people when I talk about my upline or something like that, you know. So that was
I didn't see that one, but that's because you pulled it down.
Nobody did. That was like a few people. I was like, that's a little too much. Okay, that one. No. Like the one I put up yesterday was I thought was, or day before yesterday was I thought was going to be a little bit too much, but everybody loved it. It was from the Adam Sandler thing with Steve Buscemi when he calls the guy he was bullying in high school and apologizes to him, and then he crosses him off the kill list. Anyway, so I said, I think that one might be too far. I'm not sure, but nope. The comments, boom, everybody's like, I'm in. This is great.
Yeah.
So
that's fun.
Here's the rule. Try everything.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be boring.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Find a way to be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be pretty.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be clever. You can leverage other people's cleverness. You know, you just have to start.
Yeah.
You know, because once you get people looking, then you have an opportunity to be able to have a conversation and say, you know, hey, you want to go have a little separate conversation over here, and I can tell you about something that I've got that's going on, and you can create that. John, what are some of the lessons that you've picked up?
I think one of the big mistakes that people make, especially when they first get started with social media, is they want to just do this attraction marketing thing and they sit back twiddling their thumbs, waiting for people to come to them, to raise their hand. Mm-hmm. And my top people, the people that are consistently selling, recruiting, not only do they get very good at the content creation for creating curiosity around the products, because, you know, we always say the 80-20 rule still today is super relevant. 80% of the time, you should post things that are either the 3 E's, empowering, entertaining, or educational, right? We like to entertain. Mm-hmm. And you want to try to incorporate your own story, your own, you know, way of sharing things, your own perspective. But 10 to 20% of the time, you do need to somehow, some way talk about your product.
What are those 3 again?
Empowering, educating, or entertaining.
And what I would say, you could put up over all of that as an umbrella is value.
Yeah.
Bring them value.
Yeah.
Make them laugh. Teach them something.
Yeah.
Empower them. Encourage them. Something.
Yeah. Where they come to your page, and if they see that post, they see that video, they're going to get value from it, even if they never buy.
And also another pro tip is if you can put something in there that would make them think of someone else that should hear this, and they'll share it.
Yes.
To that other person, you know, oh, my friend needs to hear this, and shares it. That's like the superpower,
right,
of that.
Yeah.
Now,
if you can incorporate relatable and shareable content. And, you know, here's a great example. I just interviewed a woman on our team, you know, Cindy Curry. She went from 3,000 followers on Instagram to over 50,000 in the last 10 days because she stopped doing so much promoting of the product that she loves, which has worked well for the last few years. But she's like, I want to mix it up. I want to start, like, you know, creating some different content. And, you know, for her, she has a certain demographic, and that demographic can get value from this certain, I mean, I might as well just say it because it's easier to explain. So she's promoting a collagen, but she started talking about castor oil and doing remixes. Like not even her necessarily talking about it, but like doing the remix or the duet, as it's called on TikTok, where she's just next to the video. And a couple of those videos exploded her account. So like you were saying, when you feel like you don't have people to talk to, it can be discouraging. If someone has so many leads and customers coming in and recruits coming in, they can't keep up, they're never getting discouraged. They might get a little burnt out. They might get a little like overwhelmed. The most positive problem in the world to have when you have so many new followers, so many people in your DMs. But the truth is, most of us, like you said, we overcomplicate this. We overthink this. We get that analysis paralysis, and we do nothing except like the same old thing that's not working or nothing at all. So for us, what we found is we've got to keep it simple in the beginning with, you know, the content creation. The 80-20 rule is relevant, but then you got to connect with people.
Yeah.
Right.
The one
Don't
thing
post
that,
and ghost.
yeah, the one thing, right. The one thing you talk about the rhymey things. We do a lot of the rhymey things.
We all do.
Works well for us. It's good for people to remember. But for me, the one thing that if, and I tell people this in my trainings, I'm like, if you could see what I do behind the scenes,
Yes.
like you could see what I'm posting, but what you're not realizing is when I see a comment, a like, a share, a follow, a friend request from someone that I either don't know or haven't talked to in a while, I'm in the inbox.
And
I'm
you're
in
saying,
the inbox.
hey, thanks for
connected.
the like.
Yeah. Thanks for the like. Thanks for the love. Hey, it's been a while. How's the family? I mean, you just have to become both a marketer and a prospector. The 2 P's, posting and prospecting. That's what leads to profits.
Yeah.
And some
Yes,
people do
baby.
some people do one or the other, right?
Right.
Or you see people that are straight up infomercial.
Sure.
It's just all product. It's just posting pictures of the product, and that's not valuable, right? That's
Right.
not valuable unless somebody's ready to buy. They're not. That's not a value-based post. So it's like,
And they trust you more too when you
Right.
share something
Yeah.
that you don't make money on.
right,
Sure.
Like that's kind of like a quicker route to building trust
right,
as well.
One other thing that I will tell you is for some people that might be like, whoa, feels like a lot. I don't know if I could figure this out. One is if you just start,
Yeah.
have your kids teach you.
yeah, so true.
They could teach you. They'll teach you every trick. Beep, 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 hit all the buttons and wow, I didn't know I could do that. Have them give you a little tutorial. They'll enjoy it. They'll laugh at you while they're doing it. But they'll teach you that. But with whatever you want your brand to be,
Mm.
you could decide to be the voice, the authority about that.
Mm-hmm.
Most people aren't ready for that.
Yeah.
Because they're not an authority yet. But you can be a curator.
Right.
Let's say there's something you're passionate about, whether it's castor oil or whatever.
Yeah.
You can curate by finding other videos, by finding articles, by interviewing experts, by doing all different types of things in order to be able to bring value to people that are searching for that content. The more obscure, the better almost for some of these things versus being general health or something. If you want to talk about a specific area, kind of the more easy it is for people to find you and make you different. But just start. Number one.
Yep.
I will tell you my opinion on this is quantity solves almost all your problems.
Yep.
Because in the quantity, you will be able to make course corrections and find out what works and what doesn't. If you post one thing, you just don't know. If you post 10 things, you can see, oh, that one worked better than that one. Post 100, you're going to see, oh, these 2 did this, these 10 did that, these 90 did, or 88 did nothing or nothing significant. All right, I'm going to focus more here. So you make course corrections with quantity and just deciding to do it. When I started to do video in 2009, March 2009, I started. And from doing that, I knew nothing. And I'm just like, okay, I'm going to start and I'm going to figure it out as I go. Made tons of mistakes, make terrible videos, made some good ones.
And you didn't delete any.
I didn't, but I made a mistake. I put them on Vidler, which was a video hosting platform that Gary Vaynerchuk was using at the time instead of YouTube. So my original ones were on Vidler. And then when they got transferred over to YouTube, the YouTube basically deplatformed them, so people would never see them really. So they exist, but they're hard to find.
Right.
Really tough to find. Anyway, so all of this crazy stuff, me sitting in my, kitchen table or whatever, talking about things. But I learned, and you make course corrections, adjust. The big thing that I will tell you here, that I want to pull from what you just said, John, is post the stuff but then you need to be in charge. You're the professional. You need to be in charge of creating the conversation and leading the conversation. Make the connection. Right. I'll give you an example. By the time this airs, I don't, the numbers are going to be way different, but, I don't, I guess the numbers don't really matter, but, let's say 1 million accounts are engaged on Instagram per week. Okay. Right now, about 60% of those are not followers.
Wow.
40% are followers.
That's crazy.
Right.
60%
Wow.
are not following. So here's a course correction that I'm going with my team. We're obviously not asking them to follow.
Yeah. CTA.
We need to create a little, do something, say, have some, if they liked or commented or whatever, we need to be able to say, hey, thanks for that. Follow us if you'd like to get more, and we're proud of what you're doing in the business. It's an example of one little thing in order to be able to build a more unique relationship.
Right.
Now, mine's a bigger scale, so forget about it. If it's a million or if it's 10.
Yeah.
If you find a way to be able to build a connection or friend them up or follow them back, or if they've engaged with the account or something.
Yeah.
All business is conversation.
Right.
Our job is to get into conversation and then keep the conversation going.
Mm-hmm.
So in real life for me, I'm not going to give the exact example of this, but I'm working on a very big business deal. And one is I attracted the person that I wanted to attract into my orbit. Okay. And once he was in the orbit, he didn't know, but it was over for him.
Yeah. You're like, I'm not letting go.
It is going to happen.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit of charm required and there's a little bit of stuff, but I turned that connection into a relationship. I turned that relationship into a business conversation. I turned that business conversation into the next business conversation. I turned that into him connecting me, which is my ultimate goal, to 2 or 3 other superpowers, and now I'm driving those.
Right. You
Right?
taprooted.
I did. But same exact thing happens when somebody connects, and you just never know. Every person that you're connected to on social is a doorway to a million people.
Right.
Every single one.
Yeah.
No matter how weird they are.
Yeah. We always say every dud knows a stud.
Yeah.
And every dud can become a stud. I was a dud when I first got started. And then years later, absolutely, 2 tongue ring, 2 earrings here, 1 here, total punk drunk loser, had scars and shattered teeth. I mean, I was a hot mess.
Yeah.
Most of us are.
Yeah.
Most of us are.
Yeah.
But eventually, because I was hungry,
Right.
I was determined,
Right.
definitely not coachable, but eventually developed some skills,
Right.
developed some confidence.
Right.
And there's so many people out there that they get caught up in their own stuff. They got that stinking thinking because, like you said, I don't know that many people.
Yeah.
I've never done this before. But the truth is, if we get really good, and you did a training on this recently, right? How you tapped into the network of that person. And it really, it is just such a reminder as to like, it's not about that person. It's about who they know and who they don't know that their contacts know. And it's almost like this like very advanced skill where you're like, I'm not going to give up on this person because I see their potential and capability. I see more than them than they see in themselves.
Yep.
But again, and I said this in the beginning, I'm not going to try to get them to start building a brand and TikToking and all these other things when they're not ready for that. I'm going to start with the basics.
Right.
And that's why we mostly start with Facebook. Create some curiosity, create some conversations, basics. Now, once they build up a little confidence, they build up a little team, they build up a little momentum, and maybe they're starting to tap out of their network, their immediate or market of people, then you start branching out. Most of our best people, our top sellers, our top performers, these are people bringing in 100 plus customers a month. They consistently recruit a lot of people per month from their social. They've been with us for years. It's very rare that someone's like 90 days in and they're already going viral and they're already posting with confidence. That takes a lot of time. And that's that fine line. It's like, I love social a lot, but I'm also from the old school days of keeping it freaking simple.
Yeah.
Because that overwhelm is
Simple.
real.
Overwhelm is real and simple is hard.
Yeah. Simple is, it's the hardest thing.
Complicated
Especially
is super
now.
easy.
As soon as you think my system's perfect, everything changes on social or the algorithm crushes you or there's a new platform or
You have
just,
to pivot.
Yeah.
pivot.
And then this new thing comes out or the company changes the comp plan. You're like, bruh, like it's a constant evolution of trying to stay relevant, keeping the team engaged, keeping the main thing. That's why we created the ATM system and some of the things that we've created over time to just focus on the basics. Because when people are like, I'm doing the videos, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm like plugged in. It's like, cool. How many people did you ATM last week?
Right.
How many group chats did you put your upline in last week?
Right.
None. Like, I mean, look, I think it's cool you're becoming popular
Right.
or you're getting more comfortable on video. But at the end of the day, if you're not adding people to the group and tagging them in a video, there's no one making buying decisions.
Right.
Even if they say, no, that's a decision. You're a decision collector, a professional conversation starter. You add them to the groups to expose them to what we do, and then you're collecting decisions.
Yeah.
And that was the one thing we did learn from being in the mortgage industry, right? Always got to fill the funnel. I always wanted the pipeline to have more loans coming in the pipeline And then when we did the old school PBR offline home meeting style, we did meetings all week, Eric, and then we got them to the Saturday training. If they joined, Saturday training. If they're on the fence, Saturday training. Because if they come to the training and they decide to join, now they're trained.
Right.
So we do that same thing now where we have a weekly Saturday team call, and it's a conference call. People are like, is it a Zoom? Like, where's the camera? What? I'm like, it's a phone number, dude. They're like, a phone number? Like with a PIN code? I'm like, it's on the flyer. It's funny. People are like not used to like, you just call in and listen. I'm like, it's a Saturday training. We don't want you to have to be camera ready. But at the end of the day, all week long, you're adding people to the groups, tagging them in the information.
Right.
And then you're getting them on the team call if they're on the fence about the business. Right. Now, a customer conversation is different. I don't want to go on a whole rant about that, but just to give you some numbers, Eric, last month, our team enrolled 228 people as distributors, but we enrolled 7,700 new customers. So our team is very heavy on the customer conversation. And we also found that that was more duplicatable. It's easier for people to consistently bring in 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 customers than it is for them to bring in that many recruits.
Yeah.
But guess who the best recruits are? Customers.
Yeah.
Right? They love the product. Those are the easiest people to enroll into your business. So for us, we always try to get them back to the basics. Yeah. If you're not doing the basics, the advanced stuff doesn't matter.
So let me kind of summarize two big takeaways for everyone that's listening. You guys are $1 Million Hall of Fame people. You're big earners in our profession, done very well. You should be proud of yourself. I'm proud of you. Happy to know you. Fun to work together. When it comes to social, I believe it is, I don't want to say mandatory, but you're leaving money on the ground.
Yeah.
A lot of money on the ground.
Yeah.
And your team's going to look at you like you're a dinosaur if you're not at least doing something.
Right.
On social. So 2, just start.
Yeah.
And you can judge in real time what's working. At the beginning, you might have only a few people like or follow. You ever jump on somebody's Facebook Live when there's one person and you're the person, and
you feel like I can't hop off.
You can't hop off and turn the 1 to a 0 on them. It's just like, oh man, somebody else please join so I can get off this thing. So all big things start small.
Yes.
So, but start, and you're going to find out what works.
Yeah.
Be entertaining, be empathetic, be
empowering,
educational, entertaining, empowering.
Yeah. Just be valuable.
Right.
In however you're going to do that. And you'll see what's working and what's not, what's going to fit your personality, what's not. Yeah. Find different things, share different things, what's not, what's getting engagement. You see in real time what people are doing.
There's 2 keys. When people start thanking you or they start asking you questions. If they're thanking you or asking you questions, those are 2 indicators that you're kind of on the right path. Right. Now, of course, if they're sharing, sure, all that. But when they start asking questions or thanking you, I feel like that's when you kind of know, like, all right, I'm going to maybe double down on this. Right. Because this seems like something that's working.
This is working.
Getting some conversations.
And the great thing is you see in real time. If you you can actually see what's connecting with your audience, and just get better, different tactics. You learn from doing. Yeah. And you're in charge. Yeah. Don't wait for them to ask you to join your business. Once they're in your orbit, you've attracted them into your orbit. They're looking at your stuff. They're commenting, they're liking, they're hearting, they're emojiing, they're, whatever. Don't wait for the DM. Yeah. Yeah. You're in charge. Yeah.
But also
you're the pro.
And people are also looking at them like they have the celebrity factor too. When we see people on video, we see people on TV. Yeah. So
there's some credibility from there. Yeah, but most people aren't going to feel that right away. What I'm saying is if somebody does a video and 10 people say, "Oh, that's awesome. Good for you." Yeah. And you can just respond, DM them back. "Hey, thanks a lot. Right. I really, that meant a lot.
Support.
That meant a lot. I appreciate the support." And that just starts a conversation. Yeah. All business is a conversation. Your job is to keep it going, be clever, be charming, find a way to get it to the next step. Your goal is to educate them so they understand it. But then your goal is to turn them from a destination to a doorway. Yeah. Open up the door to be able to get to their people, help them, kind of capture their imagination in order to be able to maximize what might be a good situation for them. And even if it's not a good situation for them, like the big shot that I talked about, I've still, there's going to be something that I do in business with this person for sure.
Yeah.
But it's gone beyond
You're still
that.
kind of in that process.
No. It's gone beyond that where other things
good.
are happening.
Oh, good.
Are happening from all the connections that happen that I'm driving.
Yeah.
Right.
But, that was an intention.
Yeah.
That was my first intention. It's like, nope, that was a doorway to that.
Mm-hmm.
And this and this and this and this and this. And I'm going to find out a way for the original person to benefit. I'll find a way.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Oh,
when
I
you
got
connect
it.
with
The
somebody.
original person that made that. Yeah.
Yeah. He's just like,
Destination to doorway.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
You know what I mean?
D
So-
to D.
Yeah. So you got to find the little quotes and all this stuff.
Acronym or
Yes,
whatever. Yeah.
that's
But
good.
listen, I want to thank both of you for coming here and spending some time. We could literally talk for 3 days
Truth.
about social media,
Mm.
but in reality, building a brand
Mhm.
and recruiting on demand, utilizing your social media strategies is not something that can truly be learned. It has to be experienced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to just start,
Mhm.
Embrace the suck.
embrace the suck,
You're going
like
to
pla-
suck.
do it messy.
Yes, that's it.
It's like playing a sport.
Yeah.
You cannot do it in your head.
Yeah.
play the
So
game.
start, and then get better. And you're in charge. That's the one thing I want you to really think about. You're in charge. Now that the connection's been made, you're in charge of mining that connection
Mhm.
for value to them.
Yeah.
Right. And for expansion of your business ultimately. All right. So I want to thank you for coming in. It's been
Thanks for having
amazing. We'll continue to have more conversations, I'm sure, in the future. But John and Nadya Melton, thanks for coming to Vegas.
Thank
Thanks,
you for
Eric.
having us.
We
You're the
appreciate it.
best.
So that's my conversation with John and Nadya Melton. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. If you got value, make sure you share it with a friend. Make sure that you subscribe to this channel. Give us a review. If you would, it'll help us spread the word. Everybody go out there, make your life amazing. Bye-bye for now.